Welcome, everyone. Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles, California. It's the home of the Lakers, where we're broadcasting live today for 2K Sports. We've got a chance now for our starting lineups from point guard to center. This game should be a good one. And as we break down the game, let's take a look here.
Of course, anytime you talk about Nash, his outstanding court vision and creative passing is the first thing that comes to mind. But, of course, he's also one of the best shooters the game has ever seen.
Steve, you mentioned the creativity he brings. Despite the flair, he's really quite fundamentally sound. He's excellent with his decision-making and understanding of how to create scoring opportunities for him and his team.
With that road trip behind them, the Lakers ready to perform in front of their Los Angeles fans. This is a tough team planning on the postseason, sitting in the 7th spot in the West.
It's always fun to be at home, Kevin. Home, sweet home is what I like to call it. But you know what? They've got a tough visitor in the house tonight. And just because they're at home doesn't mean a win is going to automatically show up on the scoreboard. They've got their work cut out for them against this opponent here.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to start out a homestand against a team like this one, but the opportunity is there. And they've got to go out and focus, play hard. If they play well and win, that'll be a major confidence booster for them.
One of the things that really jumps out at you about the Clippers is their depth. Really impressive. I mean, they've surrounded their stars with a bench that includes Jamal Crawford, who was second in the voting for Sixth Man of the Year. They've got a nice second unit.
A moment to check in with Doris Burke. Doris?
Guys, I caught up with Doc Rivers for a minute. When talking about who they'll be most concerned with on the other side, he laughed a little and asked, "You mean other than Kobe?" He said that it's an almost futile effort to try and slow Kobe because he can score in so many different ways, saying, really, all we can try and do is prevent him from getting into a rhythm and try to force him into tough shots. Guys?
Thanks, Doris. And there's the dunk to finish it off. Well, Clark, a clear lane to the basket and the emphatic jam.
And that is outstanding attacking basketball.
Well, he had no choice but to take that one to the bucket.
And we talk about the bench for the Clippers last season. Also guys like Matt Barnes and Lamar Odom. Steve, some good defensive tenacity there, too.
Yeah, they had an edge. You know, Barnes really gave them some toughness and some grit. I thought Crawford's shooting gave them some balance where they had a good offense to go with good defense. And then Bledsoe slashing. They were a lot of fun to watch, that bench unit.
Here's Kobe following the basket by Blake Griffin. Gasol defended by Griffin. It's good, and he drew contact on the shot, so he will go to the line. A three-point play chance here.
Last year, Blake's stats were down, but I thought his impact on the floor was about the same. With that said, in order for him to really take the next step, he's got to be able to knock down the perimeter shot with consistency.
Of course, Blake Griffin played a career low in minutes last season. The team looking to save him for the postseason.
And then, ironically enough, he ends up with a badly sprained ankle during that series with Memphis. So things just didn't go quite well for the Clippers or for Griffin in the playoffs. But they had a great regular season, best record in franchise history.
Clippers with the ball. They trail by 6. Paul against Nash. Paul kicks to Doug. Releases. Ejected by Young. And Griffin with the score. The assist by Jordan. Griffin's got his second basket of the game.
Another nice bucket down low. He's really been able to work the ball into the post effectively so far.
Yeah, I think that could really set things up well the rest of the game. Pound the ball inside and let your perimeter players play off your bigs.
Now, here is Young, following the miss by Kobe Bryant. Kaman, defended by Griffin. Passes it to Kobe. Second chance shot, and the shot is good. Kobe's got 6 points.
He presents a defender with a serious challenge, always.
Paul goes in. No good. Great D that time from Nash. On the wing, and the Lakers tack on 2 more.
That's 4 of 5 to start this game, guys. He's rolling.
And we're approaching about 3.5 minutes played in the first quarter. Nash against Paul. Kicks to Reddick. Pass to Douglas. And a miss there on the triple. Looking at Los Angeles, they want to turn it around after the loss to the Warriors in Oakland.
And I think the sort of issues they had on defense, in part at least, was a bigger factor. Really compounded, I think, because he was on the road. You have to be sharper when you go out and play as a visitor.
Yeah, everything has to be tight. You can't be loose in any aspect of your game. You're fighting against the crowd and the opponent. You've got to be tougher mentally and physically if you're going to win on the road.
You know, it seems to me Nick Young is the perfect guy to have coming off the bench because he's a volume shooter and scorer who can get hot in a hurry. But I think his best role is to play him kind of in a Jamal Crawford type role.
Going back to Nick Young, Clark, mostly a scorer.
He sure is, Kevin, an athletic 6'7" wing. I don't think there's any reason he can't be a plus rebounder and defender, but it's clear that his focus primarily has been on the offensive end.
Catching up on the changes for Los Angeles. Antoine Jameson's checked in for DeAndre Jordan. Barnes comes in for Jared Dudley. And it's Crawford in for J.J. Redick.
Oh, yeah, he had not established position.
You know, I prefer the refs to whistle with a block when in doubt. I thought that was a good call there.
.151 left to play here in the first. Outside Collison. Here's Griffin, and he slams it one-handed.
Nothing fancy there. Didn't need it.
Nope. His only concern right now, Clark, is getting the points on the board, and I don't mean style points.
I like the simplicity.
But there was some style there, Kev. It was a pretty sweet one-handed flush.
You always want a player to have his head up and to be surveying the court, but not if that's going to be the result.
Well, for the Lakers last season, it seemed there was so much turmoil throughout the year. Injuries, coaching-wise, changes in the offense. They never were able to really gain any momentum. They made a decent run at the end of the season, but that didn't carry over into the postseason when they were swept by the Lakers in the first round.
Johnson, the pass to Young. That's good, and it's Johnson with the assist. Young's got 5 now.
Incredible. Only took them a few seconds to answer the 3 ball with one of their own.
Let's keep this thing going, guys. I love seeing a 3-point battle like this.
There's Crawford with the 3. Rebound the Lakers. I think going back to D'Antoni and the Lakers, that Howard and Gasol were made more than a little disgruntled with how Clark he made use or didn't make use of them offensively.
You know, the Lakers brought in D'Antoni to try to emphasize Steve Nash and his role in the offense, but I think they neglected how that would affect the 7-footers. Didn't do a really good job of incorporating those guys. And when you've got Kobe getting his shots, that's a tough dynamic to work through. Maybe that'll ignite him. I mean, impossible not to get pumped up after that. At least I think that would be the case.
Well, you can see the immediate reaction of the guys on the bench. They are. Look at them. They are pumped up.
Yeah, they're geek.
That's what those alley-oops do, though.
Blake with it. He's covered by Collison. Young for 3. And the rebound goes to Griffin. Griffin's got 3 rebounds now in this one. And it's Barnes slamming it down. They'd love to get more of those, the easiest 2-point spots, and on a fierce finish.
Yeah, and that's exactly how they're going to cut into the lead, Kevin.
Yeah, that's why they've got to tighten up their D. And I'd be surprised if the defense allows any more free runs to the hoop like that.
The scoring fast and furious as we end the first quarter. And now the second quarter just getting set to start. And what stands out to you from the Lakers in this one?
And they've done a nice job here offensively to establish a rhythm and a pace to this game.
And I like that they're finding ways to score. Playing well here, Steve.
Setting the floor for the Clippers. Crawford and Barnes filling out the wing. Griffin is out there with Antoine Jamison. And it's Collison in at the point guard position. Pass to Crawford. The rebound by Blake.
When he's wide open like that, he'll rarely miss those.
Let's go now to the sideline and catch up with Doris Burke. Hey, Doris.
Hey, Kevin. Jordan Farmar is back in the NBA after playing last season in Turkey. He's making about a third of what he could earn overseas, but he said, quote, "This is the only situation I would have taken a minimum deal with. I miss my family, I miss being home, and ultimately, I miss being a Laker." He's an LA native, won 2 titles in purple and gold, and guys, it's good to be back.
Yeah, he is a winner. No doubt about that. Thank you, Doris. And the Lakers making a change here. Kamen's checked in. And the slam by Blake Griffin.
That's the epitome of teamwork right there, Kevin, on the alley-oop.
Clark, what about the finish? Bringing it down with some thunder.
Yeah, lightning, too.
But I'll tell you, the pass was even better. He put it on an absolute platter for him.
Here's Farmar. Shot is off. Great D that time from Collison. Clippers trailed by 9.
One thing Matt Barnes has no problem doing is playing the role of a scrapper. I mean, he plays with that kind of sandpaper edge to his game. No fear, and that's why his teammates have so much respect for him. It also helps that he can contribute in a variety of ways.
Blake kicks to Farmar. The tray cannot hit, and it's the Clippers taking it the other way. Fresh from a win against the Nuggets.
I thought the way they attacked the rim and got into the paint was phenomenal. It seemed like after a while, the defense just kind of waved the white flag.
That's exactly what will happen when a team continues to attack the goal and come away with layups. It demoralizes the defense.
From the arc, and that one's good. And Matt Barnes, a fiery defender, he plays the game, it seems, almost all the time with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, he embraces the physicality of the game, but I just love the energy and the emotion that Matt Barnes brings to any team that he plays for. That's why, regardless of where he is, he always finds his way into the rotation.
And he's played for a lot of teams.
Yes, he has.
Johnson dishes to Farmar. Launches a 3. And good on the basket. Book it. And now a 10-point Laker lead.
They're getting a bunch of their points outside of the paint. 3 of their last 5 buckets are from three-point range.
But the defense isn't making them earn it. And those shots have just come on easy, open looks.
Let's go to the 2K leaderboard and see which teams have been the NBA's best in the rebounding department. Fourth spot held by the Lakers.
You know, all season long, this has been one of the better rebounding teams in the league. And when you rebound the ball well, you limit your opponent's second shot opportunities, and you also give yourself some additional scoring opportunities by climbing that glass.
Catching up on the changes for the Clippers. DeAndre Jordan comes in for Blake Griffin. And Dudley subbed in for Antoine Jamison.
I tell you what, guys, I think most NBA fans can think back to last season when DeAndre Jordan had a dunk for the ages. I remember my son reached out to me by text and said, "Did you see what DeAndre did?" And it was major impressive.
No luck that time either. And for DeAndre Jordan's spectacular dunks are nothing new. I read the other day a 9'6" standing reach. He can touch the rim on the tips of his toes.
I read that too. It's interesting. I mean, he's so big and yet so explosive off his feet. So I think he has the ability to be one of the best defensive players in the NBA.
Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here.
You know, you go through the regular season, guys, and set all sorts of records for your franchise and wins and winning streaks and all that. You win your division for the first time ever, your first 50-win season, and what do you get for it? Bounced in the first round of the playoffs. It's still progress, though, and I think the Clippers will use that for motivation this season.
Clark, as you said, the Clippers got up 2-zip on the Grizzlies, but all of a sudden it came to a crashing halt. And Steve, they dropped 4 consecutive games, and just like that, we're out of the postseason.
Yeah, injuries played a part. Blake Griffin sprained his ankle, but I think the Clippers were exposed a little bit too. They're limited offensively on the front line, maybe not quite enough shooting, but that's why they made the moves in the offseason, and they're looking to pick up and make some improvement in that regard.
Redick with the bucket. Los Angeles leading by 10. It's Kobe Bryant on the wing. He's guarded by Dudley. Kobe, the pass to Nance. Farmar. It's Kobe Bryant on the wing. Just 5 on the clock. The feather touch on the finger roll. Beautiful. Kobe's got 10 points in the game.
He shot the ball exceptionally well as they built this lead for themselves here.
Now let's send it to Doris from the sideline.
Well, gentlemen, it's not often you see a team trade for a coach, but the Clippers did just that to get Doc Rivers. The Clippers gave up a first-round pick to get him, but they believe he is their guy. He has a title on his coaching resume, and that played a big part in why the Clippers were willing to give up so much to just acquire Doc. Rivers felt it was time for a change and gladly took the chance to take over a team that could contend immediately. Gentlemen?
No question he can help. Thanks, Doris. Farmar gets to Kobe. Shoots. It's rebounded by Redick. Clippers trail by 10. The pass to Barnes. Here's the feed to Paul. Another one falls for the Clippers.
Boy, such outstanding patience and decision-making for them offensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Their ball movement has been outstanding. They are piling up the assists.
Here's Kobe. Out to Nash. Poked away. It's a nice passing here by Los Angeles. And out of bounds as the Clippers gain possession. There's 39 seconds left in the first half of basketball. And Redick kicks to Barnes. Off target with his three. Los Angeles leading by 8. Kobe, that's for 2. Kept alive. Farmar dishes to Nash. Right side, Kobe. Goes back up. Gets it to go. Kobe's got 12.
That mid-range jumper, just another one of his weapons.
Paul passes to Jordan. Kamen's there. Back to Paul. And so we conclude the first half. Lakers lead by 10. And we'll be back right after halftime to get the third quarter underway. And welcome back to the NBA on 2K Sports. More action in store as the players get ready to go, having a nice break to get hydrated with Gatorade. And Steve and Clark and I are refreshed and ready to go here as well.
The Clippers need to do a better job guarding against Kobe.
12 points and 1 rebound.
Our second half of basketball, and presented by Gatorade. Let's see who's all fueled up and on the floor to start the third. Taking a look at Los Angeles. Nash and Bryant in the backcourt. Inside the 7-footers, Gasol and Kaman. And it's Young in at the 3, the small forward.
And, you know, for the Lakers last season, a lot of turmoil. And think about the coaching change, but it wasn't just that. It was a whole system change as well. And the front office felt the Princeton offense they started using wasn't working out. So they were in a state of flux all season long.
And Kobe, here we go. No good. Great D that time from Jordan. Clippers trailed by 13. Ball left side. Back to Jordan. And it's thrown down hard with both hands.
Cutting into that lead a little bit. Way to finish.
And the basket is still shaking.
Oh, man, he's got so much power.
And going back to the Princeton offense that Clark mentioned, Steve, tell us about that offense and why do you think it didn't work out?
Well, they only gave it 5 games, Kevin. I mean, Mike Brown was 1-4 when he got fired. And that's impossible to install an offense and expect it to work that quickly. So, I mean, I think the offense would have been fine if they had given it time and given Mike Brown some time to install it.
The free throw drops for Kobe.
Yeah, guys, did you know that the Clippers winning the Pacific Division last year was the first time it's ever happened? Yeah, you heard it right.
Good point, Clark.
That's the first time the Clippers have ever won the Pacific Division.
And the Clippers call time here. And what a time to be a Clipper fan these days, guys, with the way they've climbed to the very top of the Pacific Division. And, Steve, they've done it by beating up on the rest of the teams in that Pacific.
Well, Golden State gave them some trouble, Kevin, but otherwise they really rolled against the rest of the Pacific Division. And I'll tell you, it became clear within a few months last season that the Clips were going to run away with the Pacific. And what a long time coming for Clipper fans.
That's a 2 from Paul. The Lakers with the rebound. Gasol's got his 4th rebound with that last one here tonight. And by virtue of their NBA schedule, their first game of the new year is against the Los Angeles Clippers. And that one's good by Kobe.
And of all the things about him that you like offensively. It's his composure that jumps out at me. The way he never gets rattled. The defense can get in him. He doesn't care. He just continues to do his thing.
And also, he catches a lot of defenders off balance, Steve, with his ability to pull up and drain shots off the bounce. It's a very effective skill to have.
And Reddick kicks to Paul. The second chance effort. And he sinks the layup. Paul's got 6.
Seems like they're on their heels every time defensively because the ball continues to go into the post.
Well, if they don't pick up the aggression, things are only going to get worse. You know, you get the kind of love Blake Griffin has gotten for dunking on everybody in the league. It doesn't go over well with your opponents. I noticed last season teams started to get a lot more physical with him because of that.
And with hard fouls becoming a topic of discussion last season for LeBron James and certainly for Blake Griffin. Steve, what's your take? Does Griffin change his style of play? Does the league step in to protect players like him? How do you view that?
Well, the league already does protect everybody. I mean, you can't commit a hard foul these days without it being called flagrant. So, I mean, I think Griffin is fine. He just needs to continue to improve. And what he can do more than anything is develop a low post game that would translate into the playoffs.
And it's Paul penetrating. And he hits it just before the shot clock expires. Paul's got 4 points now in the quarter.
They're forcing the ball inside, and it's working beautifully.
Yeah, the defense has been futile here. 5 of the last 6 field goals in the lane.
Blake kicks to Kobe. Right side, Kobe. Puts it up from 15. Griffin grabs the board. Griffin's got rebound number 5 here tonight. It's Crawford with the drive. Paul. And they will call over the back on the play.
Well, he gave the officials no choice there. Easy call. That's right over the top.
Yeah, he's got to go straight up when he's under the boards in that kind of traffic. Can't chest first into the man in front of you. That's a foul.
Here's what the Clippers are going with right now. DeAndre Jordan's checked in for Griffin. Reddick comes in for Jared Dudley. And it's Collison in for Chris Paul. Blake defended by Reddick. Here's Blake. He has 5. This one for 3. There it is. It's Nash picking up the assists. Nash has got 3 assists now in this one. Clippers trail by 15. Collison dishes to Jordan. Back to Collison. Feeds to Jordan. Outside for Jamison. Clippers moving the ball around. Reddick with the bucket.
D there, guys, was pretty much non-existent. I mean, you can't leave a good shooter like that open.
Well, a coaching carousel for the Lakers last season. They made it only 5 games before firing Mike Brown. Then they decided to go in a new direction. And, boy, they went through 3 different head coaches before all was said and done. They never really were able to gain that consistency they were looking for.
That one goes. Count it. And the Lakers call time here. And back to the Lakers' struggles last season. What do you think, Clark, were the main problems that, held them back from being the kind of title contender that they thought they were and a lot of people imagined they were?
Well, how much time do I have? 3 or 4 shot clocks worth? I mean, I think there were a number of issues, as you might expect. Injuries played a significant role, but I think there was discord over how they should play, really no true identity. They were a big team trying to be small, a team without a number of shooters trying to spread the floor, an older team trying to go up tempo, coaching change, and that transition.
Right, yes.
You had a lot of moving parts, and it made it very difficult for everybody, I think, and it showed in how the Lakers' season went.
It's a good assessment. Blake Griffin, he's checked in for Antoine Jamison. Paul kicks to Dudley. The Clippers rebound. Left side, Jordan. No good there, and that would have cut it to single digits. And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials saw the contact, and he'll shoot 2.
Well, probably the right play defensively. If you can't get the block, send them to the free throw line. Don't give them an easy 2.
No easy buckets inside. Force free throws and work to keep them out of the lane next time around.
No good on the second free throw. 3 seconds separate the shot clock and game clock. The dish now to Hill. Back to Johnson. He kicks to Nash. The Lakers need to get a shot off here. Three-pointer. Can't get it to go. Well, it's been an exciting game. Plenty of offense as we head to the fourth quarter. Lakers on top, up by 9. And time for the short break, and stay right where you are. The fourth quarter is coming up next. And the final period of play just about to start. And a moment now to look at the scoring approach in terms of where the points are coming from here for the Lakers.
How about the three-point shooting we're seeing so far, guys? Amazing.
You know, something else I've noticed is just how many of their baskets have been set up by assists throughout the game.
And on the floor for the Clippers here in the fourth, CP3 and Jamal Crawford make the back. Jared Dudley out there with Antawn Jamison. And it's Griffin in at the center, filling out the middle. Nash kicks to Young. He dishes it to Johnson. 6 on the shot clock. He passes to Nash. He feeds it to Young. There it is. It's Nash picking up the assists. Nash has got 4 assists in the game.
Boy, I tell you what, he loves getting looks like that from the three-point line. No one near him. That's a warm-up jumper for him.
Crawford kicks to Paul. Dishes it to Griffin. And the foul called on Pau Gasol. That'll be his second foul of the game.
Yeah, close, but I didn't think he got on balance quickly enough.
It's hard to draw charges as quick as players are at this level. That's not an easy bit of work there.
DeAndre Jordan's checked in for the Clippers. Redick comes in for Jamal Crawford. Paul passes to Dudley. And the layup is good after a nice lead pass.
You can always depend on him to put the pass right on the money.
Lakers leading by 10. Now here's Nash. Johnson dishes to Gasol. The Clippers grab the miss. Jordan's got 4 rebounds in this game. Looking ahead, they've got the Jazz coming into town for the next game. That'll be the first of 2 straight at home.
Well, that Utah game has a lot of attention on it.
Los Angeles calls timeout.
Hey, I think we all knew that the Clippers were good last year, but we really took notice when they rattled off those 17 wins in a row in December. That was a franchise record, which had previously been 11, and that's when the league really took notice.
Let's catch up with Doris from the sideline.
During that break, Coach Rivers had some words for his team. He is not pleased with the score and implored them to try to make a push right now, saying, "We don't have time, fellas. If we can't make a dent soon, I'll have to pull the plug." Pretty blunt, Kevin. Back to you.
The Lakers on D. A great fourth quarter, just giving up 2 points. Paul for 3, and that one's good. Well, it was the year of the win streak last season with Miami doing what they did and Denver getting hot as well. But you know, Steve, the Clippers had the first lengthy win streak and turned some heads earlier in the season.
Yeah, what was that, about 17 games in a row they won? And I thought that kind of established the Clippers in the West, put a little fear in the rest of the conference, and gave L.A. a swagger that I thought helped them get through the rest of the season.
Took advantage of some shoddy defense there. They've got to at least get a finger on it.
Nash up on top, defended by Paul. Johnson from outside. There it is. It's Nash picking up the assist. And that's now 6 points for Johnson. Clippers trailed by 11. And here's Dudley for 3. And again, Los Angeles with the triple.
What a display of offense we've seen today, and it's only getting better.
But both defenses have been on their heels all day, and it's begun to take its toll.
And the basket by Johnson.
That's now a dozen straight points coming off wide open three-pointers.
You know what it looks like to me out there, guys? I mean, it looks like All-Star Weekend out there. We know how much defense is played there. It's actually offense during the All-Star Weekend, no D. He had his choice of finishing moves there, and you just got to love the fact he went old school with the finger roll.
Kobe's checked in for the Lakers. Lakers leading by 9. Nash kicks to Kobe. Young outside. Back to Kobe. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line.
At the line for two.
And he makes the first.
Outstanding foul shooting in this game, and that confidence can be infectious. They're taking care of business on the charity stripe.
Here's Paul. Well, if you're just tuning in, welcome. We've got about 3.5 minutes gone here in the fourth quarter.
That's something they need to do more of. Get after it on the glass. Go get those boards.
Any extra possessions that you can get, either through steals or rebounds, are so critical in this game.
It's Nash with the drive. Back to Young. Shot clock at 6. Nash the pass to Kobe. From deep three-point range, cannot hit. And the Clippers will come the other way. Paul kicks to Dudley. That's blocked. And they get it back.
This has not at all been the kind of performance they've needed out of him.
Kobe dishes to Gasol. Second shot opportunity. Jordan with the block. Floats one. The shot by Redick, no good. Lakers leading by 11. Young passes to King. And that one's good.
An example right there, guys, of how even as their lead grew into a big one, they never started coasting.
That's the truth. I mean, they've been in charge of this game all the way through.
Boy, they are having their way in the paint right now. So many looks right at the rim.
Defensive rotations have been a step slow, and it's helped them get the ball in close time after time, Steve.
And here's Kobe. Nash outside. A three-pointer off the mark. Clippers trailed by 11. Paul kicks to Dudley. 14 feet away. They get it back. Redick. Rejected by Kobe. And out of bounds as Los Angeles gains possession. Jamal Crawford, he's checked in for the Clippers. 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Right at the free throw line. Connects, the jumper drops.
He's definitely got that shot in his arsenal.
40 seconds left in the fourth. And Young, here we go. Gets it to go. And the Lakers lead by 11.
You got to feel pretty good about this win tonight, guys, defending their home floor.
Yeah, and just riding it out here now. I mean, they gave the fans what they wanted.
And, here, there's a whistle. He was going up for a layup, and while it looked like there was some contact, I wasn't sure they were going to call it a foul shot or not, but sure enough they have. So we've got a couple of free throws coming up. A platoon swap here for the Clippers. So he comes up empty at the line. LA's gone 4-6 from beyond the arc in the fourth quarter so far. About 3 seconds between shot and game clock. Blake kicks to Johnson. Passes it to Blake. 6 to shoot. Johnson dishes to Blake. Nice D from Crawford.
Well, I think he kind of alligator armed that short stroke.